There are clearly two favorites among the Auburn fan base, Deion Sanders, Lane Kiffin. Which one makes more sense at Auburn?
Listen, put me in the parking lot, with Bears, and I'll go out there and play. It don't matter.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Today's episode brought to you by Underdog. Sign up on UnderdogFantasy.com with the promo code Locked On. You get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Joining us on this Friday, the very sickly Auburn message board legend, Charlie 5. You sound terrible, but your takes will be absolutely red hot today.
Totally. I have a lot of pin-up aggression. Had some Disney experience. Parlayed it straight into the flu. Had the firing. Couldn't say anything. Couldn't even talk. I'm like sitting on pins and needles right now. I'm ready to blow. I sound worse than I feel. I feel great.
Awesome. I want to hear your rage.
Yes.
In just a moment. But first things first, obviously a lot's happened since we last spoke, right? You mentioned the firing. There's been two camps that have kind of formed throughout the Auburn fan base. Lane Kiffin, Deion Sanders. You'll get the kind of weird outliers here and there, which is cool. That's fun. That's part of all of this. But who do you think is a better fit between Lane Kiffin and Deion Sanders? To me, it's not close.
Really? So it's, to me, they have a lot of the same qualities to me, as far as like the charisma that they'll bring, the excitement, name recognition. Kids will want to just come play just because of who they are. Yeah. Lane to me has the edge from like immediate play calling credibility. So I like that, but he's going to cost a ton of money. I honestly think Deion could probably be the better fit at Auburn right now. And the reason is I think that it's something that the fan base and whatnot is almost like craving someone kind of like that kind of energy. Lane Kiffin's name brings energy. Lane Kiffin does not bring energy. Lane Kiffin, honestly, outside of like trolling and whatnot on Twitter, he's kind of a boring personality. Deion is going to be like he would be like Bruce Pearl was, hyping up at basketball games. Taking chicken biscuits, people standing in line. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I feel like Deion, he's just going to be that sort of, I guess, mouthpiece for Auburn. And I feel like that's a really good fit. And you know what, coach, can he not pick up the phone and call? Like, people don't understand Mike Zimmer is one of his GAs, like one of his like assistants off the field, like analysts. A possible Hall of Fame NFL coach. So I think if I look at the two, just from like the shot of like not only name energy, but like energy, and just think about the highlight videos, like entrance videos coming out onto the field. Like,
it'll be awesome.
Prime time. I mean,
it'll be awesome.
I think he'd be a great fit.
Yeah, just a Hall of Fame player just on the field. Like, that's just kind of crazy. And I don't know if I fully wrap my head around the fact that could happen. I agree with you in the sense of like it's a better fit, I guess, socially and culturally, because he'll scream War Eagle, he'll hashtag War Eagle all over the place. Lane's not going to do that. Lane was never a big Roll Tide guy. I don't know if I've ever heard him say Roll Tide when he was at Alabama. I don't know if he ever said Hotty Toddy while he's at Ole Miss now. I've just never heard that. So, and Auburn people like that, right? Like, Auburn people need you to say War Eagle a little too much, borderline aggressive. Like, we say it for everything. I don't know. I don't think Lane would do that. And so,
no, I don't either.
To that argument, I will concede that point to you.
Your Tiger talks, your coaches welcoming.
Yeah, it's War Eagle everything.
Luncheons and all this kind of stuff. Like, that's the kind of stuff Lane's just not going to have any interest in, which I don't necessarily dislike that, but Prime's going to eat that up. He's going to love that stuff. And Auburn's going to love that he loves that stuff and wants to do that stuff. So that's just where I see the fit a little bit.
I get fired up thinking about Tiger Talk when he's like, they're sitting at Baumhauer's and Prime just sitting in
Deion
between.
Sanders.
Yeah, between Brad Law and Andy Burcham. Like, that'd be crazy. That'd be so cool. Lane wouldn't enjoy that. But here's why I prefer Lane between the two. And Lane is my number one choice to be Auburn's next head coach, both in what I want and what I actually think is going to happen. Is he's won in the SEC West, right? Like, didn't we just kind of do this? Like, we just went and got a dude that like was winning where he was at in the Mountain West, and it's like, all right, now come to the SEC. No disrespect to the level of football being played at Jackson State, but it's just like we just did this and it didn't work. I know the personality is different, but get the guy that's won consistently in the highest level of college football, the SEC West, at Ole Miss of all places.
So to me, the question you asked was a little bit different. It was the fit. So I think Lane is the better. I think Lane is who I would rather have.
I see.
For like instant wins. As far as fit though, with Auburn, I think Deion would be an awesome fit, like with the culture. So
that's fair. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you saw the articles people are putting up, like people are like just calling recruits, hey, what would happen if Auburn hired Deion? I'd flip. Kids just saying I'd flip my commitment immediately. I mean, you never don't get a kid out of Phoenix City. You never don't get a kid out of Columbus, Georgia. Atlanta, Deion's on billboards in Atlanta, on highlight films in Atlanta. I mean, Deion doesn't have to go outside of a 100-mile radius of Auburn, and he can get whoever he wants. But can he coach? I just feel like there's no coach he wouldn't pick up the phone that wouldn't want to be a part of it. Because, hey, if I'm an offensive coordinator, I want to go where the players are. That's how I'm going to build my resume. So I know Deion's going to be reeling in 5 stars. Heck yeah, I want to go jump on this train. Let's go. Let me call the plays with all these 5 stars. Let's roll. Same thing on defense. But I do think Lane wins immediately. Like Lane will hit the portal. He's got connections in 7-on-7 all over the Southeast. That's like one of the things about recruiting people don't really understand, the connections you make with these elite 7-on-7 groups. I mean, he's the real deal too.
All right, Charlie 5, you have a bunch of pent-up aggression.
Yes.
He's ready to empty the bag, folks. Get ready. Real quick, today's show is brought to you by our friends at Underdog. Underdog Fantasy is the best, fastest, quickest, easiest place to spice up any type of fantasy sports that you play, but of course, also hyping up the remainder of this college football season. They have pick'ems. They have higher or lower for prop bet type things. And they also have daily fantasy drafts, season-long fantasy drafts. They've got everything going on. Talked to a few folks over the past few days that wanted to try it, but they said, I live in Alabama, so that kind of thing isn't available here. That is not true. It is available. It is daily fantasy. It is not betting. So be sure to check that out. Sign up with promo code Locked On. It's one word, LOCKEDON. And Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. Deposit $100, get $100 free. Go to underdogfantasy.com, or I like their app. I think their app is a little bit easier to use. So be sure to check that out. Promo code Locked On. Get in on the college football pick'em action today. Charlie 5.
Yes.
Your thoughts on Bryan Harsin being let go at all?
Okay, so I waited for this day for quite a while. We thought it was going to happen weeks prior, and then we kept getting the feeling, or kept hearing, it's possibly a little bit smarter if we just let it hang the rest of the season. I honestly thought maybe he could win a few games down the stretch, but every single week we go out there, the team looks less and less prepared. You give up 40-plus points 3 straight weeks. I think it was – you couldn't deal with it anymore. You had to pull the plug. And for the most part, I expected for it to go this long in the season and like people see how bad this team is. And I would say for the vast majority, the press has been sort of like understanding of the move. But there's still some people out there, and I've got to drive something into people's minds. If you take nothing away from anything I say, you have to take this away. Bryan Harsin was not hired this past February. Bryan Harsin was hired 13 months prior. Okay. So for 13 months at Auburn, he accumulated one of the highest payrolls in the history of Auburn coaching on the field and off the field. Okay. There are so many things that he did wrong. Basically everything that you could possibly do wrong, he did wrong in 13 months. And I honestly did not flip the switch on him until a mutual friend that we became friends with was really connected into recruiting in December, started to learn a lot about how things played out. I shared a lot of it in the Discord. People weren't ready to hear it because, hey, we were 6-2. Our quarterback got hurt. And I'm just like, look, guys, I'm just telling you, this is not going to go. This is not going in the direction we needed to be going. He landed nobody in the portal. This is before drama. He got rid of a $1.5 million defensive coordinator. That was not against. That was before February. He got rid of a quarterback who's now a Heisman contender. That was before February. He got rid of a $1.1 million well-respected, awesome recruiting offensive coordinator. That was before February. I mean, all of this stuff that happened, he was not hired. He was here, guys. He was here for 13 months. He was here for 13 months before the drama hit. Now, the drama was terrible. The drama, everything about it, I cannot believe that we went into that thinking it's okay if we don't pull the trigger and then we can just completely waste 2022 because this was a 0 year. This was a year that just was a complete waste. We gained nothing, lost everything. We didn't necessarily have to. I'm Cole Kubelik. I love you, man, but you got to stop saying he wasn't given a fair chance. We've got to stop saying that. If he makes half of the right decisions, of the wrong decisions that he made in the offseason from events he should have been to. Another thing, in January, when the evaluation period opens up, okay? Evaluation period opens up in January. Kirby Smart goes to see 27 high schools in the same time we saw like 2. And Phoenix City's right down the road, and we pissed off every one of those guys because he didn't go until the very end. And it's just I'm so tired of hearing he didn't have a chance. He had every opportunity to make just half of the right decisions. If he just makes half of the right decisions, we may be talking about a totally different a season. If we land a few players in the portal that we tried to get, really pushed the NIL part, we may not have even had to have a NIL buyout. I mean, who knows? I mean, there's a whole gamut of things that could have happened if you just make half of the right decisions that you made wrong decisions. I mean, I could literally do a 1-hour show and go item by item, event by event. And another thing that really infuriates me is I have good friends that are on that staff that were dependent on him, that were encouraging him on things he needed to do, people he needed to talk to, and he refused to do it. It wasn't his responsibility. I've hired people for that. I hired 62 offensive off the field staff people, the highest off the field staff payroll we've ever had. That's not my responsibility. That's their responsibility. I mean, it's just the horror stories. You go all the different beat writers. You can go to all their websites. It's like horror story after horror story. We have never seen anything the likes of this. Like it's really, really unbelievable how completely unprepared this guy was. And I'm elated that we no longer we've removed ourselves from that and we can move forward. And I mean, I'm sick. I was sick, but I was happy, and I'm feeling better and better and better every single day. So I'm excited for Cadillac and his opportunity. I'm not expecting that we're just automatically got better. We're probably not going to look any better, look any different, but there is an excitement to go watch a game on Saturday now. There's an excitement to want to go pull for the guys and hope that they can somehow upset a team, and that's just huge.
I'm shocked how many people are like, yeah, I've kind of been like rooting against us because I wanted Harsin gone. I'm like, dang, I didn't realize. I didn't experience that, but apparently a lot of people did. I didn't realize that.
I caught myself there, like almost hoping we didn't sneak some out that I almost caught myself mad at the Missouri game when the kid fumbled. I was like, just go ahead and put us out of our misery. Basically, it's like
You weren't alone. Yeah.
In the purgatory, because that's all it was purgatory. And from February on, I'm not going to put all on Bryan. I'm not going to put all on that. But for the lead up, the 13 months, that's on him. 1,000% on him. And I hope that he learned something. Here's another thing. Like that's what I don't think he did. I don't think that he thinks he did anything wrong. I don't think that he thinks. I think that I've been wrong before. Okay, I'm not going to say I've never been wrong. I've always been right. But like, there's times when I'm wrong and I look at it, I say, man, I was wrong. Let me change what I was wrong about, and I'm going to go do something else. I mean, for 13 months, I've never seen somebody so sure about themselves and be so wrong. Like I don't think there's another. It's unbelievable to think that he went through those 13 months and thought he was doing the best job that he possibly could in the SEC to compete against Nick Saban and Kirby Smart. It blows my mind to send Zach Etheridge to a Georgia high school awards banquet that the Auburn head coach has never missed for like 25 years. The continuous line of stories, like to think that you're doing the best job that you could possibly do and like truly believe it, it boggles my mind.
Well, he's gone. He's absolutely gone.
Thank you.
You saying all that, I kind of got a little bit of flashbacks like when he got here.
Yeah.
We were so excited about the structure that he was bringing, and everybody was we were all saying the same stuff about Gus, right? Now Gus always showed up for work, right? That was never really it. It was more of just the structure that wasn't there. But in hindsight, it's like, I think it's pretty clear that what Gus was doing worked way better than what Bryan Harsin was doing.
I mean, just from the sense of being able to relate to kids and get kids in, like if you put Gus back at Auburn with, we're talking about the results will be different with Kevin Steele. Like, what if we just had NIL with Gus? Like, I guarantee you our results would have been better than what they were the past 2 years. Not saying we didn't need a change. We definitely did need a change there, but I don't know, man. It's gone. I'm so excited for this. Coaching searches are awesome. I don't know that I can't, in my adult life, we've never had one in the middle of a season. I think people need to pump the brakes a little bit on thinking when you hear names pop out, just think we just saw an AD search where there was 2 names basically floated out the whole time. And then in the last minute, a name came out of nowhere. So yeah, maybe Kiffin, maybe Deion are the top 2, and maybe this is different, but I mean, just look, if you look at the AD situation, if it's anything like that, it could be somebody way out of left field. But I think we know that the importance there, this hire is so very important. So it's not going to happen before the end of the season. So just buckle up, ride the roller coaster, because there's going to be highs and lows. There's going to be all kinds of stories.
I want to talk about one aspect of the excitement and the list of names in just a second right here on Locked On Auburn. I want to encourage you to check out the Locked On Auburn Discord. Charlie 5 mentioned it just a second ago. A lot of fun conversations going on nonstop. We're almost to like 1,500 people in there. So it's free. All you have to do is click the link in the episode description down below. Looking at all these names, Charlie 5, there are so many. I mean, we could probably go 7 or 8 deep of realistic names where it's like, oh, I would love that. Oh, I would love that. Oh, I would love that. I mean, there's just so many. I don't remember that 2 years ago when we did this.
Well, and the reason is because Auburn is the elite job that's open and probably will be the top job that's open should, barring they Texas A&M pulling the cork on popping the whatever on Jimbo will be the top job. Like, so all these guys that are looking to make a step up, we're the top job. And normally we're fighting with, the Ohio States and the Florida States and the USC, Texas.
Yeah,
We're fighting with all these guys for coaches. Now we're fighting with Nebraska. It looks like Nebraska might hire Matt Rule. Nebraska, Colorado, Arizona State. Like those are who were Georgia Tech. Like Auburn's much better job than all those. People talk about, hey, even Auburn will fire you. But yeah, you know what? The last two coaches, they both took home about Brian taking home $25 million in 2 years. Gus finished off about 40. What was it? Something insane.
It was 23 mil, right?
23, 25 million that just paid just to go away. Like, yeah, it may be a tough job, but you're going to be rewarded if you fail. You're going to be rewarded. Weird. You're going to be rewarded if you succeed, and you're going to be rewarded the exact same if you fail. So that ought to be at least some.
Yeah, I mean, so like the obvious two, like you just mentioned, Lane Kiffin, Deion Sanders. Vast majority of people are okay with both of those.
Right.
Dan Lanning is interesting. You're seeing his name on a few websites. I think that's kind of fun to think about. I think most people would be okay with that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. He'd be a fun guy.
I think Hugh Freeze is a decent option. We'll see if it actually happens or not. We'll see.
If you can get past your personal issues with him, like you can't argue that and if he beats Arkansas this weekend, that's going to be
unreal. That'd be unreal.
Team that beat us with a third string quarterback, like look out.
Gosh. Yeah. Then after that, to me, I think there's a pretty big drop off
from the people that are being talked about. I mean, you still got guys like Luke Fickell that people like that could take a step up. You got guys there's guys.
Fickell to me is one of those things where it's like his resume is great, but I don't know if the fit makes sense.
True, very true. There's a couple. There's several of those. There's several of those that are being. Matt Rule was one where I didn't think the fit would really make a lot of sense.
Or then is it Jamie Chadwell? Isn't that his name?
Chadwell.
Like, that's one where it's like, yeah, his resume's good, but like I don't think he would fit with Auburn.
It would be a weird fit. There's there's a lot of different guys. You got Jeff Grimes, which I think Jeff Grimes awesome.
I like that hire. Yeah,
awesome. He would be an awesome fit. He would not excite a lot of people, and he would have to be very staff heavy, hire heavy to be able to have success. But honestly, like if you put pen to paper and look at the successful coaches Auburn's hired in the past, he kind of fits that mold a little bit.
The exception, he's a coordinator, right? Not an up and coming head coach. That's the big difference. But if I was a fan and not doing a daily podcast about Auburn every day, I would be more excited about the possibility of hiring him.
Sure.
But I don't want to have to defend it for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like, that'd be exhausting.
Everybody wants to splash. And the problem, another thing is we've never been in the position that we should, if we want, we could go make that splash. We've never really had that. We've never done it.
We've never done it. I mean, The biggest splash hire we've ever made, like it wasn't Pat Dye. May have been Tuberville just because we stole him from Ole Miss and there was some drama there. May have been Gus just because of what he did with Cam a few years prior. Like maybe that's it, but like we've never really done that. Like the whole like hiring Bruce Pearl in basketball, like that's the biggest splash hire we've ever had. And it was in basketball. Like nobody even cared about basketball at that point. Auburn basketball. And like Butch Thompson was a big deal, but like he wasn't some like big established thing, but he was just
Sonny Galloway probably was a bit
That's a great point. That's a great point.
On a splash level, Sonny Galloway was a big splash, but terrible fit and terrible human, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
Sometimes you got to think. Sometimes splash is great, and sometimes splash can blow up in your face if it's not the right fit. And honestly, that is a little bit that one little tiny concern that I have about tiny.
A minor concern.
A mighty concern that I have with Lane Kiffin is that possibility that he may not want to necessarily be a part of Auburn enough that what happens if the success isn't right there off the bat? Could he split? Could he go to the NFL? would he bolt for Alabama when it opens? I mean, I know that's like maybe loserish type thing, but I mean, it's reality also. It is the reality of the situation. So fit does matter. Fit really, really does matter. And look, like I said, just look at Sonny Galloway. Splash hire, absolute disaster.
One talking point that isn't going away, and it's with several coaches. It's with Lane. It's with Deion. The whole idea of like hiring somebody and worrying about them leaving you in a few years. Sure. I think that's dumb.
I do.
Like, don't not hire Deion because you're worried about him winning too much and the Florida State will want him. Like, that is silly to me. That makes no sense. No sense whatsoever.
Because if that happens, that means you've had a fair amount of success. If that were to happen, if your coach goes to the NFL, if you're and I know I just literally said it really only kind of pertains to Lane, because I kind of see Lane is everything's good as it's going good. If it's not going good, I'm ready to go I'm ready to go. If he continues to win here, I wouldn't care what happens. But yeah, I think if you're having success and somebody you should want your coaches to be hired. If people don't want your coaches, you probably suck. One thing I liked about Gene Chizik is he always brought in coaches and he trained them how to interview for promotions. Mm-hmm. Like he taught them how to, he wanted them to want to get promoted. And I think that's a good, I mean, if you take a step up or you leave or you go to your dream job from Auburn, that means you must have earned it. You know what I mean? So we benefit from that. Even if
and then that job that they left open is significantly more appealing, and you can get a better DC or a better OC. You know,
exactly.
That's how it works in theory. And you look at what Alabama's built. You look at what Clemson's built. I mean, that's what happens with them. Georgia hasn't really done that. Well, I guess with Lanning, they kind of did with Dan Lanning going to Oregon. But yeah, that's a good goal to have for sure. So. Next time you hear somebody making that talking point, say that's silly. That's absolutely silly. Charlie 5, how can people find you, hear you, love you, wish you to get better, all that stuff? Wow. We lost him. We lost Charlie 5. He's too sick. That's okay. You can find all my written work at auburndaily.com. We'll be back tomorrow right here on Locked On Auburn.